I talk about this all the time, Matt, and I'm glad you say that because, look, I have been an advocate for ensuring that patients have access to efficacious medication. That has been my sole mission since almost 2000. But I've expanded that to think that in some states that have gone ahead and decided to move towards an adult use category, it was making it easier for the patient to go in and have access. So I'm okay with that. I'm just, but a lot of people who have been in this industry, and this is what really pisses me off about our industry, is that they kind of have thrown the patient under the bus. If you look back to 91 and 92, there were people being dragged out of their homes in Northern California, on gurneys, on IVs, just because they had one or two plants being grown in their backyard because they felt not only for HIV, but for a myriad of other illnesses, we were starting to prove the fact that cannabis had a significant impact. And what's so ridiculous, and I'm sure that you have the paperwork somewhere, is at the same time that our government did this, they were turning around and funding Dr. Meshulam in Israel to validate their patent.
Yep.
And even NIDA gave him their biggest award. I'm shocked when, we don't. That's one of the things that I also am pissed off about this industry with. And I'm sorry, I'm just using you as my sounding board, but
I
I'm
don't represent the industry, so
no,
go on. Yeah.
but I mean, I'm pissed off at the industry because the industry doesn't do enough to educate the consumer and educate the masses. We do a cursory, brush over. Yeah, this was made illegal in 1937 by the Marijuana Tax Act. Stop the stupid. Let's talk about the bullshit that has happened since 1937 and continues to happen, and even happening today, where we have, what is it, 38 states in the District of Columbia that have some form of legal cannabis right now, but there are almost just as many people being arrested today as were arrested, 15 years ago.
Yeah, and Montel, it's actually, to me, it's shocking, right? Because I single out three groups of people right now. The people that need this most or need this to end most, and that's, I would say, one, I would say the terminally ill, and this is in no particular order, by the way. Terminally ill. Two, the number of veterans using marijuana to treat symptoms as opposed to opioids, right? Like as an alternative to what has been labeled like the most dangerous epidemic in America right now.
That people won't even admit today. There are more people dying today than were dying before we started talking about COVID, but we kind of left that behind. We don't even bring it up anymore.
Exactly, and
Right.
I think cannabis is an alternative to the opioid epidemic. There's already research out there on that, so we don't need to tread all ground. And